The day started like any other for Dr. Sarah Chen, lead astronomer at the SETI Institute. She sat at her desk, sipping coffee and reviewing data from deep space telescopes. Suddenly, her computer screen lit up with an unusual signal. Sarah's heart raced as she realized this wasn't random noise. It was a pattern, a message. "Hey, Mike, come look at this," Sarah called to her colleague. Mike rushed over, his eyes widening as he saw the screen. "Is that what I think it is?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Sarah nodded, her hands shaking slightly. "I think we just made first contact." News of the alien signal spread like wildfire. Within hours, every major news outlet was reporting on the story. World leaders called emergency meetings. Social media exploded with theories and speculation. At the United Nations in New York, representatives from every country gathered to discuss the situation. The mood was tense as they debated how to respond to the alien message. "We should send a friendly reply," suggested the delegate from Canada. "Show them we come in peace." "No," shouted the Russian representative. "What if they're hostile? We should prepare our defenses first." As arguments broke out across the room, a loud boom shook the building. Everyone fell silent. Outside, people screamed and pointed at the sky. A massive spacecraft had appeared over New York City. It was unlike anything humans had ever seen. A dark, metallic structure that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Smaller ships poured out of the main craft, zooming over the city. In Washington, D.C., the President of the United States was rushed to a secure bunker. Military leaders gathered around him, their faces grim. "Mr. President, we're detecting similar ships over major cities worldwide," reported General Thompson. "They've made no attempt to communicate." The president's face was pale as he asked, "What are our options?" Before anyone could answer, screens around the room flickered to life. A strange, alien face appeared, gray skin, large black eyes, no visible mouth. The alien spoke, its words translated into English by some unknown means. "Humans of Earth, your planet is now under our control. Resistance is futile. Submit or be destroyed." The transmission cut off, leaving the room in stunned silence. Across the globe, similar scenes played out. Panic spread as people realized the aliens weren't here for peaceful contact. This was an invasion. In London, Prime Minister Ellis addressed the nation. "Stay calm," he urged. "Our military is mobilizing. We will not surrender our planet without a fight." Similar messages came from other world leaders. For the first time in history, all of Earth's nations united against a common threat. In secret facilities around the world, scientists and military experts gathered. They needed to find a way to fight back against technology far beyond their own. Dr. Chen found herself whisked away to a hidden base in the Rocky Mountains. She joined a team of the world's brightest minds, all working tirelessly to understand the alien threat. Their ships seemed to be powered by some kind of dark energy, Sarah explained to her new colleagues. "If we can disrupt that, we might have a chance." Meanwhile, the aliens made their first ground assault. They attacked a military base in the Sahara, their advanced weapons easily overpowering human defenses. But the humans didn't give up. A young soldier named Jack Rodriguez managed to capture an alien weapon during the chaos. He escaped the base, the alien gun clutched tightly in his arms. "This could be the key to fighting back," Jack told his commanding officer as he handed over the weapon. The alien gun was quickly sent to the secret research facility. Scientists worked day and night to understand its technology. As the first day of the invasion came to an end, humanity faced an uncertain future. The aliens were strong, their technology far superior. But humans had something the aliens didn't expect: determination, creativity, and a fierce will to survive. In labs, in military bases, and in homes around the world, people prepared for the fight of their lives. The war for Earth had begun, and humanity wasn't going down without a battle. Dr. Chen looked out the window of her new lab, staring at the stars that now seemed so threatening. "We'll find a way," She whispered to herself, "We have to." 2 weeks after the alien invasion began, world leaders gathered in a secret underground bunker. The location was unknown even to most of them until they arrived. Security was tight. The fate of the world hung in the balance. President Amelia Rodriguez of the United States stood at the front of the room. Her face was tired but determined. "We've all seen what these aliens can do," she said. "They've destroyed cities, killed millions. But we're still here. We're still fighting." The room was silent. Leaders who were once enemies now sat side by side, united by a common threat. "It's time we fight back together," Rodriguez continued. "I propose we form a global defense initiative. All our resources, all our military might, united under one banner." Murmurs filled the room. Some nodded in agreement, others looked unsure. Premier Lai of China stood up. "For too long, our nations have been divided," he said. "But now we face extinction." "I agree with President Rodriguez. China offers its full support." One by one, other leaders voiced their agreement. Old grudges were set aside. The world was changing. As the meeting ended, the Global Defense Initiative, GDI, was born. Its mission: to save humanity from alien destruction. Meanwhile, in the Rocky Mountain Research Facility, Dr. Sarah Chen made a breakthrough. She burst into the main lab, waving a tablet. "I've cracked it," she shouted. "The alien weapon. I know how it works." Scientists gathered around her as she explained. The alien guns used a form of plasma energy, superheated and controlled by magnetic fields. "If we can replicate this," Sarah said, "we might have a chance against their ships." Word of Sarah's discovery spread quickly. Soon, factories around the world were retooled to produce the new weapons. It wasn't as advanced as the alien tech, but it was a start. In Africa, the GDI set up its first major base. The location was chosen for its rich mineral resources needed for the new weapons. Soldiers from every nation trained together, learning to use the plasma guns. Captain Jack Rodriguez, the soldier who had captured the first alien weapon, was now a key trainer. "Remember," he told a group of recruits, "these aliens might have better tech, but we have something they don't: heart. We're fighting for our homes, our families, our very existence." The recruits cheered. Morale was high despite the dire situation. In orbit, the GDI worked on another project. They were converting the International Space Station into a military outpost. Astronauts and engineers worked tirelessly, installing new defenses and observation equipment. Commander Yuki Tanaka floated in the space station, looking down at Earth. Parts of the planet were scared from alien attacks, but much of it still shone blue and green. "We won't let them take our home," she whispered. Back on Earth, in London, Prime Minister Ellis addressed his nation. "Today, I'm proud to announce that Britain has joined the Global Defense Initiative," he said. "Our factories are producing new weapons. Our soldiers train with allies from around the world. We are united, and we will prevail." Similar speeches were given in capitals across the globe. For the first time in history, humanity spoke with one voice. In New Delhi, a team of engineers unveiled a new invention: a force field that could deflect alien energy weapons. It wasn't perfect, and it used enormous amounts of power, but it was another step forward. Dr. Raj Patel, the lead engineer, demonstrated the shield to GDI officials. "We're reverse engineering their tech," he explained. "Every day we learn more. Every day we get stronger." The aliens, however, weren't idle. They launched a massive attack on the GDI base in Africa. Thousands of ships filled the sky, raining destruction. But this time, Earth was ready. Plasma cannons fired back. Force fields flickered to life, protecting key structures. GDI fighters took to the air, engaging alien craft in furious dogfights. The battle raged for hours. Losses were heavy on both sides, but when the dust settled, the GDI base still stood. It was humanity's first major victory. As news of the victory spread, People around the world celebrated. Hope, which had been in short supply, began to grow. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Chen watched the battle reports with tears in her eyes. "We did it," she said softly. "We really did it." The war was far from over. The aliens still held the upper hand, but humanity had shown it wouldn't go down without a fight. United, they stood ready to face whatever came next. The next phase of the war was about to begin. 6 months into the alien invasion, Earth's Global Defense Initiative, GDI, made a startling discovery. Their deep space monitors detected massive alien activity around Mars. In the GDI's underground war room, General Maria Vasquez pointed to a holographic display of the red planet. "They're building something big there," she said. "We think it's a staging area for a full-scale invasion of Earth." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what this meant. If the aliens established a strong presence on Mars, Earth's chances of survival would plummet. President Rodriguez stood up, her face grim but determined. "Then we have no choice," she said. "We must take the fight to Mars." And so began Operation Red Dawn, humanity's first interplanetary military campaign. In secret facilities around the world, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to adapt Earth's new technologies for space warfare. Dr. Sarah Chen led a team developing space-worthy versions of the plasma weapons. "The vacuum of space actually makes the plasma more effective," she explained to a group of pilots. "But be careful, in zero gravity, the recoil can send you spinning if you're not prepared." Meanwhile, Captain Jack Rodriguez, no relation to the president, was selected to lead the ground assault team. He stood before his troops, a mix of soldiers from every nation on Earth. "I won't lie to you," he said. "This mission is dangerous. We're going where no human has gone before, to fight an enemy more advanced than us. But remember, we're fighting for the survival of our entire species. Failure is not an option." The troops cheered, their voices echoing through the underground base. As preparations continued, the GDI unveiled its secret weapon, the UNSC Humanity's Hope, Earth's first true spaceship. Built using a combination of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien tech, it was a marvel of engineering. Commander Yuki Tanaka, fresh from her success defending the orbital stations, was chosen to captain the ship. As she walked through its corridors for the first time, she felt a mix of awe and responsibility. "This ship represents the best of humanity," she told her crew. "Together, we'll take the fight to the enemy and show them what we're made of." Finally, after weeks of preparation, the day of the assault arrived. The Humanity's Hope, along with a fleet of smaller craft, blasted off from Earth. Millions watched the launch, their hopes and fears rising with the ships. As they approached Mars, tension on the ships rose. Would their untested weapons work? Could they really defeat the aliens on another planet? Suddenly, alarms blared. Alien ships rose from the red surface of Mars, moving to intercept the human fleet. "All hands to battle stations," Commander Tanaka's voice rang out. "This is not a drill. Engage the enemy." The space around Mars erupted in a spectacular light show as plasma bolts and energy beams crisscrossed the void. Human pilots, trained in simulators but facing real combat for the first time, fought with desperate courage. On the Humanity's Hope's bridge, Commander Tanaka barked orders, coordinating the fleet's movements. Despite being outnumbered, the human ships held their own, their new weapons proving effective against the alien defenses. Meanwhile, under the cover of the space battle, Captain Rodriguez and his ground team approached Mars in stealth landers. As they entered the thin Martian atmosphere, Rodriguez addressed his troops. "Remember your training," he said. "We're making history today. The first humans on Mars. And we're here to kick some alien butt." The landers touched down in a cloud of red dust. As the doors opened, Rodriguez was the first to step out, planting a GDI flag in Martian soil. "Let's show these aliens what Earthlings can do," he said. The ground battle was fierce. Alien defenders swarmed from hidden bases, their strange weapons lighting up the Martian landscape. But the human troops fought back with determination, their plasma rifles proving just as effective on Mars as they had in training. Back in space, the tide of battle began to turn. Commander Tanaka had led the humanity's hope in a daring maneuver, flanking the main alien fleet. "Fire all weapons," she ordered. The ship's main cannon, powered by a miniature fusion reactor, unleashed a blast that tore through several alien vessels. Cheers erupted on the bridge. As the space battle raged on, Captain Rodriguez and his team fought their way to the aliens' main base. It was a massive structure, unlike anything they'd seen on Earth. "This is it, people," Rodriguez said. "We take this base, we give humanity a fighting chance. For Earth." With those words, the human forces charged into the alien stronghold, ready to face whatever waited inside. The battle for Mars, and for humanity's future, had reached its critical point. The battle for Mars had been won, but at a great cost. Many brave soldiers and pilots had given their lives to secure humanity's foothold on the Red Planet. Now, as the dust settled, a new phase of the war began. In a hastily constructed lab on the Martian surface, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before a group of Earth's top scientists. Behind her, protected by a force field, was the prize they had fought so hard to obtain, an intact alien ship. "This is our chance," Sarah said, her voice filled with excitement despite her exhaustion. "If we can understand their technology, we can beat them at their own game." The team got to work immediately. They were a diverse group: physicists, engineers, biologists, and even linguists to decipher the alien controls. Every day brought new discoveries and new challenges. Meanwhile, back on Earth, factories worked around the clock to produce weapons and defenses based on the data sent back from Mars. The Global Defense Initiative had turned the entire planet into a war machine. In New Delhi, Dr. Raj Patel led a team working on improving the force field technology. "If we can extend the field's range," he explained to GDI officials, "we could protect entire cities from alien bombardment." Across the globe in Silicon Valley, a young programmer named Alex Wong made a breakthrough in decoding alien communication signals. "It's not just a language," they exclaimed to their team. "It's a whole new way of processing information." Alex's discovery led to the development of more effective jamming techniques, giving human forces a crucial advantage in battle. Back on Mars, Captain Jack Rodriguez and his team provided security for the research facility. One day, as he patrolled the perimeter, he saw Dr. Chen running towards him, her face pale. "Jack, we need to evacuate now," she shouted. "The ship, it's not dead. It's been sending out a signal." Before Rodriguez could respond, the ground shook. In the distance, they saw a massive dust cloud approaching. The aliens had returned to reclaim their technology. "All personnel to emergency shelters." Rodriguez barked into his comm. "This is not a drill. Prepare for immediate evacuation." As chaos erupted around them, Sarah made a split-second decision. "We can't let them take back the ship," she said. "All our work, it'll be for nothing." Rodriguez nodded grimly. "What do you need?" In the next few minutes, as the alien forces drew closer, Sarah and a small team of scientists worked feverishly. They weren't trying to save the ship now. They were rigging it to self-destruct, but not before transmitting all their research findings back to Earth. As the last of the personnel boarded the evacuation ships, Rodriguez and Sarah remained behind. "Just a few more seconds," Sarah muttered, her fingers flying over the alien controls. The ground shook again, harder this time. Through the lab's windows, they could see the alien ships, their weapons charging. "Sarah, we're out of time," Rodriguez shouted. "Got it." Sarah hit a final button. A high-pitched whine filled the air as the alien ship began to power up. They ran for the last evacuation ship, diving through the door just as it was about to close. As they lifted off, Sarah looked back through a viewport. The alien ship glowed brightly, then exploded in a massive fireball that consumed the oncoming alien forces. Did it work? Rodriguez asked as their ship rocketed towards the safety of Earth's fleet in orbit. Sarah checked her tablet, her face breaking into a wide grin. Transmission complete. Every bit of data we gathered, all our research, it's safely back on Earth. As news of their narrow escape spread, it brought a renewed sense of hope to the human forces. They had lost the Martian base, but the knowledge gained was invaluable. In the weeks that followed, Earth's scientists made rapid progress. New weapons were developed, defenses were strengthened, and for the first time, humanity began to push back the alien invaders effectively. In orbit above Earth, Commander Yuki Tanaka watched from the bridge of the Humanity's Hope as a squad of new fighters, built with reverse-engineered alien tech, easily outmaneuvered and destroyed an enemy patrol. "Send word to GDI Command," she said, a fierce pride in her voice. "Tell them Operation Prometheus is a success. The fire of knowledge has been stolen from the gods, and humanity is ready to fight back." As the message was relayed, a cheer went up from every ship in the fleet. The tide of war was turning, and humanity was determined to ride that wave all the way to victory. As humanity made progress in space, the situation on Earth grew dire. The aliens, angered by their losses, launched a full-scale invasion of the planet. Cities around the world came under attack. In New York, Sarah Chen's sister, Emily, huddled in a makeshift shelter with her neighbors. The sound of alien weapons fire echoed outside. "I hope Sarah's okay up there," she whispered, clutching a photo of her sister. Suddenly, the ground shook. The aliens had breached the city's defenses. As fear gripped the shelter's occupants, Emily stood up. "We can't just sit here," she said. "We need to fight back." Inspired by her words, the group began to organize. They gathered whatever weapons they could find: kitchen knives, baseball bats, a few old guns. It wasn't much against alien technology, but it was all they had. Meanwhile, in London, Prime Minister Ellis coordinated the city's defense from a bunker deep underground. "We need to buy time for the scientists to finish the new weapons," he told his advisors. "Every minute we hold out is another minute closer to turning this war around." As if in response to his words, the bunker shook. Alien forces had found them. "Sir, we need to evacuate," a security officer urged. Ellis shook his head. "No, I will not abandon my people. We stand and fight." Across the globe, similar scenes played out. In Tokyo, a group of school children, led by their brave teacher, Ms. Tanaka, Commander Yuki Tanaka's sister, used their knowledge of the city's complex subway system to evade alien patrols and deliver supplies to resistance fighters. In Rio de Janeiro, a famous soccer player named Carlos Silva rallied his teammates and fans. They turned the iconic Maracana Stadium into a fortress, using their athletic skills to outmaneuver the physically stronger aliens in close combat. Back in New York, Emily's group had joined with other survivors. They moved through the ruined streets, helping those they could and sabotaging alien equipment when possible. Emily's knowledge from her sister's letters proved invaluable in understanding alien weak points. As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with an alien patrol. For a moment, both groups froze in surprise. Then, Emily raised her makeshift weapon, a pipe wrapped in electrified wire, inspired by her sister's research. "For Earth," she cried, charging forward. The aliens, caught off guard by the humans' ferocity, fell back. It was a small victory, but it ignited a spark of hope in the resistance fighters. In GDI's hidden command center, President Rodriguez received reports from around the world. Despite heavy losses, humanity was not giving up. Ordinary people were becoming heroes, fighting with whatever they had. "We need to get them better weapons," Rodriguez said. "What's the status on the new tech?" Dr. Raj Patel, who had been working nonstop, looked up from his computer. "We're close, Madam President. The reverse-engineered alien weapons are almost ready for mass production. But we need a way to distribute them globally. fast. Captain Jack Rodriguez, freshly returned from Mars, stepped forward. "I have an idea," he said. "It's risky, but it might just work." His plan was daring. Use the aliens' own transport technology, captured during the Mars mission, to teleport weapons directly to resistance groups around the world. "It's crazy," Dr. Pidal said. "We barely understand how it works. The slightest miscalculation could scatter atoms across the planet. It's a risk we have to take." President Rodriguez decided. "Prepare the teleporters." As the scientists worked to modify the alien tech, the battles on Earth intensified. In London, Prime Minister Ellis led a desperate defense of the bunker, using furniture and office supplies as improvised weapons. In Rio, Carlos Silva and his team were pushed back to the highest seats of the stadium. Just as it seemed they would be overrun, a shimmer in the air caught their attention. A crate materialized in front of them, filled with advanced weapons. Similar scenes occurred around the world. Resistance fighters found themselves suddenly armed with technology that could match the aliens. In New York, Emily grabbed a plasma rifle that appeared out of thin air. With a fierce grin, she turned to her group. "Looks like my sister sent us some party favors," she said. "Let's show these aliens what Earthlings can do." As the newly armed resistance fighters pushed back against the alien invaders, a message spread across human communication channels. It was simple, but powerful. "Hold the line. Help is coming. Earth fights back." The tide of the ground war was turning. Humanity, with its back against the wall, was showing a strength and resilience that surprised even the aliens. The battle for Earth had entered a new phase, and the human spirit was burning brighter than ever. With Earth's forces pushing back the alien invasion, the Global Defense Initiative, GDI, knew it was time to take the next step. They needed to strike at the heart of the alien empire. In a top-secret facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, President Rodriguez addressed a group of Earth's best soldiers and scientists. "Thanks to the bravery of our people and the brilliance of our researchers, we now have the means to take the fight to the enemy's home world," she said. "This mission will be dangerous, but it may be our only chance to end this war." Dr. Sarah Chen stepped forward, holding what looked like a small metal sphere. "This is the key to our plan," she explained. "We call it the Nexus device. It can open a portal directly to the alien homeworld." Captain Jack Rodriguez whistled. "That's some serious tech, Doc. But how do we know where to go?" Sarah smiled. "Remember that alien ship we studied on Mars? It had star charts. We know exactly where they came from." The plan was set. A small team would use the Nexus device to infiltrate the alien world, gather intelligence, and, if possible, find a way to cripple their war effort. They called it Operation Starfall. The team was a mix of soldiers and scientists. Captain Rodriguez would lead the military side, with Dr. Chen handling the tech. They were joined by Emily Chen, Sarah's sister, whose experience in the New York resistance made her invaluable. As they prepared for the mission, tension was high. They were about to go where no human had ever been before. "Remember," Captain Rodriguez told his team, "we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for the right of humanity to exist in this universe." The day of the mission arrived. In a specially designed chamber, Dr. Chen activated the Nexus device. A swirling portal of energy appeared before them. "Well," Emily said, hefting her plasma rifle, "I always wanted to travel the stars. Didn't think it would be like this, though." With a deep breath, the team stepped through the portal. In a flash of light, they found themselves in an alien world. The sky was a deep purple, with two suns hanging low on the horizon. Strange plants that seemed to glow from within covered the landscape. In the distance, they could see a massive city, its architecture unlike anything on Earth. "Whoa," whispered one of the soldiers. "We're really here." But there was no time for sightseeing. Alarms began to blare across the alien landscape. Their arrival had not gone unnoticed. "Move," shouted Captain Rodriguez. "We need to find cover." The team sprinted towards a cluster of strange, crystalline structures. As they ran, alien ships appeared in the sky, weapons charging. Dr. Chen fumbled with a device on her wrist. "I'm picking up massive energy readings from the center of the city," she said between breaths. "That must be their command center." They fought their way through the alien city, using every trick and tactic they had learned during the war on Earth. The alien homeworld was more advanced than anything they had seen before, but the team's determination and human ingenuity kept them one step ahead. As they neared the central tower, Emily spotted something strange. "Look!" She pointed to a group of aliens huddled in an alley. But these aliens were different, smaller, looking almost afraid. "They're civilians," Captain Rodriguez realized. "This isn't their whole species. It's just their military forcing this war." This discovery changed everything. They weren't fighting an entire alien race. They were fighting a tyrannical government that had dragged its own people into war. With renewed purpose, the team fought their way to the central tower. Dr. Chen worked feverishly to hack into the alien systems, while the others held off waves of alien soldiers. "I'm in," Sarah shouted after what felt like hours. "I can shut down their entire war machine from here." But as she reached for the final command, the tower shook. The alien leader, a towering figure in ornate armor, had arrived. "You dare," its voice boomed, somehow understandable to the humans. "You dare to challenge us in our own home." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward, his weapon raised. "We dare," he said firmly, "because that's what humans do. We dare to dream, to explore, to fight for what's right, even against impossible odds." The alien leader hesitated, seeming to truly see the humans for the first time. In that moment of distraction, Dr. Chen activated the shutdown sequence. All around them, alien weapons and ships began to power down. The war was over. Humanity had won. As the team stood in the alien command center, exhausted but victorious, they realized that this wasn't just the end of a war. It was the beginning of a new chapter for humanity among the stars. The news of humanity's victory spread across Earth like wildfire. People poured into the streets, celebrating the end of the war that had nearly wiped out their species. But for the heroes who had made it possible, the work was far from over. In the alien capital city, now eerily quiet without the constant hum of war machines, Captain Jack Rodriguez stood before the defeated alien leader. Dr. Sarah Chen and Emily Chen flanked him, their weapons lowered but ready. "So," the alien leader said, its voice a mix of anger and curiosity, "you have bested us. What now, humans? Will you destroy us as we try to destroy you?" Jack exchanged glances with Sarah and Emily. They had discussed this moment, but now that it was here, the weight of the decision felt heavier than ever. "No," Jack said finally. "That's not the human way. At least not the best of humanity. We came here to end a war, not to start a massacre." The alien leader's eyes widened in surprise. "You spare us, even after all we've done." Sarah stepped forward. "We've learned something important here," she said. "This war wasn't the will of your entire species. It was the decision of a few, forced upon the many. We think it's time your people had a say in their future." As they spoke, other aliens began to gather, drawn by the strange sight of their leader conferring with the alien invaders who had somehow shut down their entire military with the push of a button. Emily noticed the growing crowd. "Look," she said to the alien leader, "your people are watching. Why don't you tell them the truth? About the war, about Earth, about everything." For a long moment, the alien leader was silent. Then, to everyone's surprise, it began to speak to its people. It told them of Earth, of the war, of the bravery and ingenuity of the humans who had fought back against impossible odds. As the alien crowd listened, their reactions shifted from fear to curiosity to something that looked almost like hope. Meanwhile, back on Earth, President Rodriguez addressed the United Nations. The Great Hall was packed, with representatives from every nation eager to hear what would come next. "Today, we celebrate a victory," Rodriguez began. But let us not forget the cost. Millions have died, our cities lie in ruins, and the scars of this war will take generations to heal. She paused, looking out over the crowd. Yet in our darkest hour, humanity showed its true strength. We put aside our differences. We fought not just with weapons, but with courage, with ingenuity, and with an unbreakable spirit. As she spoke, screens behind her lit up, showing scenes from around the world. Humans and aliens working side by side to rebuild cities. Alien children playing with human children in parks. Scientists from both species hunched over workbenches, excitedly sharing knowledge. We have won more than a war, Rodriguez continued. We have won a future where Earth is not alone in the universe, a future where we can reach for the stars not in fear, but in friendship. The hall erupted in applause. As it died down, Rodriguez made her final announcement. Today, I am proud to announce the formation of the Galactic Council of Sentient Species. Earth will take its place as a founding member, alongside our former enemies, now our newest allies. Across the galaxy, on the alien homeworld, Captain Rodriguez and the Chen sisters watched the speech on a holographic projection. As it ended, they turned to the alien leader. "Well," Jack said with a smile, "ready to make some history." The alien leader nodded, a gesture it had picked up from the humans. "Indeed, it seems we have much to learn from each other." As they walked together towards a bright new future, Sarah couldn't help but laugh. "You know," she said to her sister, "when I dreamed of meeting aliens as a kid, I never imagined it quite like this." Emily grinned back. "Just goes to show, humanity is always full of surprises." And so, as the sun rose on a new era, humanity stood tall. They had faced extinction and emerged victorious. They had turned enemies into friends. And now, they looked to the stars not with fear, but with hope and wonder. The war was over. The adventure was just beginning.